Managing money is no easy task. Women of all ages and backgrounds struggle with the pressure to earn enough, access education, care for a family, and plan retirement. Now, I'm not sure I'm the right person to provide solutions here, but I've got a best-selling author and a wealth guru on the show today. What's the secret of financial wellness and security? Let's have ourselves a pocket-sized pep talk and find out.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
Today's guest, Shirley Luu, is a best-selling author, speaker, and financial advisor. Her 25 years of experience in the financial services and insurance field has enabled her to become one of the industry's most knowledgeable experts. But I asked her to be on the show because Shirley continues to be a steadfast champion and advocate for the empowerment of minorities and women through her financial literacy programs, entrepreneurship opportunities, and advanced wealth concept trainings. Shirley, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Well, me too. And folks, what you don't know is I try and keep them short, but I always have a little conversation beforehand. And Shirley and I were going a mile a minute. I'm sorry we didn't record that one as well, but I don't think you're going to have a lot of trouble keeping your attention for this one. So it's going to be the battle of the Shirleys and the Robs here. Get ready for some energy. So
absolutely. I'm ready for this.
All right, let's go. Let's start about learning about you. I've worked with many financial advisors. For me, they're probably my biggest clientele, my biggest horizontal market as a sales trainer. But you're different. You focus on the empowerment of minorities, and that really piqued my interest. So what drove you there?
I'll be honest with you. I got into the financial because of circumstances. I had a tragedy in my life. My husband had died unexpectedly, tragically, and left me with three kids, a 1-year-old and a 15 and 16-year-old. And at that point in time, there was no life insurance. Because of his death, tragically, we had to move out of the house overnight and trying to find a place to live. So to me, it was extremely difficult. I apologize. It was extremely difficult for the fact that, as a woman, you trusted your husband to have everything. And when he says to you, I got it, and a lot of women out there are the same situation where they trust the men to handle. Well, next thing you know, he didn't have it. He didn't have it in order. We didn't have life insurance. We moved out of the house. I was almost homeless. And from that point in time, I wanted to get into finance to be a financial educator, to teach women and minority, understand what things are, and have that candid conversation that people don't like to have, just to know, so that's where my story is. And so that's where my passion is being empowerment, teaching women and minorities out there about money and finance. Know where you stand at all times. Yeah.
That's an amazing story. I often think that sometimes we don't find a profession. The profession finds us. And yes. In that story, you've described something very personal, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yes.
And very meaningful to me because, again, it's by my coffee bar, but it's one of my favorite quotes. We weren't put on this earth to make a living. We were put on this earth to make a difference. And what you describe is a calling, almost a cause that found you. And through that, you truly do make a difference. An amazing story. I want to climb further into that. Women, okay? I noticed you like to inspire women, not only financially, but to be leaders.
Yes.
Walk me through that a little bit.
Well, so when I got to learn about financial industry, I was in the room at one time with 600 men, and there were only 5 women in the room. And I'm like, wow. So you mean to tell me that this industry is lacking so much in women, learning about just basic fundamental finance and money, and even taking that opportunities to teach each other. So I went ahead and I said, why don't I create a very different type of brokerage firm where basically I start having 80% of my team are minorities and women, because I'm originally from Vietnam, as you can see. And even in my country, the Vietnamese women don't really get into finance. So I got on, Dish Network, SBTN, and all the major cable channel, and start, educating in my language. Because again, the Asian community, again, are not very aware about the financial industry. And some of them tend to cluster in that. So I decided, well, if the Vietnamese don't know about it, what about the Chinese? What about the Filipino, right? What about the Ethiopian? I mean, so then I begin to do a very different brokerage firm of minorities, because they speak those languages. It's easier for them to teach that, And guess what? Next thing you know, it became the industry norm now for my team to just expand everywhere, in teaching financial education to literally everybody in the hundreds of thousands. So I have, like radio show, TV shows, podcasts. As a matter of fact, I have a upcoming reality TV shows going to be on cable next year. It's going to be fun. Yeah.
You are a busy woman. But
Yes.
let's talk salesperson to salesperson right now.
Yeah.
That's a very impressive story. And yet I got to believe that there is some fear, there's some pushback. Let's think of it in terms of almost an objection. What you state makes complete sense to me. Last time I looked in the mirror, I happened to be a man. But there is, on paper, looks great. What's the biggest objection that you're running into by trying to empower women and trying to empower minorities?
Okay. So the first thing is, they said, I don't know anything about money. I'm not good at numbers. I can't do this, So those are the objections that they kind of have, and thinking you got to know about math, you got to know about investment, you got to know about all this. And at the end of the day, you don't got to know all that, as long as you're willing to aptitude to learn. So I learned to teach people very basic concept when it comes to financial planning and things like that. Understand, things that affect your life every day. You're going to need money for retirement, period. You're going to need money if you get sick, period. You're going to need money, and how do you invest money where you can't lose money? So if you teach those people basic stuff. And I think the other thing is that, imagine, you and I sit and talk to each other, and you're going to say, Shirley, tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly. If I tell you the good and the bad and ugly about what your plan is, then you're more likely you can invest and do things. And people just want to dumb it down, make it easy, don't make it complicated. And that's the reason why, I'm growing the way I am, and, continues to winning contracts all over the place. Yeah, right now.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to tell you something that I think is one of your secret weapons that you may or may not even know you possess, but we happen to share a couple of things.
Okay.
We're not only authors, but I started my career in the insurance industry. New York Life.
No way.
Life, health, and disability. 2 a week, 10 a month. And don't let us catch you in the bullpen. Sorry, that still drooled into my head. But as much as I battled that background, and I had no trouble, I was successful at it. I was just very young. I was 22, 23 years old, little bit young to be selling life insurance. But I learned in that industry something really important that you're articulating in your own way. What I learned, and it's sort of a saying of mine, is that sales isn't what is, it's what if. And you experienced what if, you see? And so now you in a sense have found religion. You understand, you see the need for the services that you provide because you lived it. But it's human nature for many other people to say, well, but I haven't experienced that trauma. So why would I need this? Most people, I don't know about you, but when I sold life insurance, the phone only rang twice in 2.5 years for somebody looking for life insurance. And the first call I took, I was very happy. I loved to sell that person life insurance. The second one, I was already getting pretty smart. And I said, okay, you're looking for life insurance. I'm just curious. What did the doctor tell you today? Okay. And there was a pause and we heard it. And folks, the reason why I'm going over this and the reason why in which you heard Shirley just say is that we don't have to wait for a tragedy to occur to have a conversation about what if. And that's the value of people like Shirley. You see, you leave most of us just kind of to our own, And we're going to hang around and think about it and fear change. And that's why we've got Shirley's in the industry. We have people there that are asking us questions that we don't want to ask ourselves sometimes. And I applaud where you're at. And I want you to keep going. And don't be, because we need to be shook up. We don't have to live that tragedy to prevent that tragedy. Correct?
But yeah, but you know what? Here's the funny things to Rob about this. The life insurance nowadays are not like your grandfather's life insurance.
Yeah.
Because imagine this, the life insurance today are very dynamic. Imagine if I gave you an account. Have you ever heard of a life insurance? For every dollar you put in, the bank match 3. And you get stream of tax-free retirement. You get all those things, and you get market participation gain, whatever it is. And the money structure, take it out tax-free. And if you get sick, you can use that money now and not later. So the whole dynamic changes the whole industry. That's why my book talks about that dynamic. What are the different kind of insurance that you have to understand, and just being educated on that. I think that's what's really important as far as my crusade. I am into big time financial literacy. It's about education.
Good.
If people understand where they are, where they're going to be and all that, and hey, why not tax advantage, tax-free stuff, and people don't know that exist,
Yeah. And I love the word you just used, your crusade. Because as I said, people fear change. And so you just taught me something, because when I was in the industry, it wasn't my grandfather's insurance, but it was my father's insurance. I mean, I'm a generation back. And so, yes, I remember whole life and term, and this thing called universal target kind of thing that was making its way. And boy, has the industry grown up since then. So that's why we bring in the pros, folks. It's not quite as simple as, we'll use your term, our grandfather's insurance, which really was, it's either term or it's whole life. It's a lot more dynamic than that. And anyway, so I appreciate you reminding me of that. Yep.
Well, it's interesting that you said all that, Rob, but believe it or not, all the things that you just mentioned, all those insurance, it's all old grandfather insurance, including universal life. So there's even newer than that,
Right.
and people don't know, and so that's what makes it so different,
Yeah. Well, please remember, it was universal life 40 years ago or so when I was selling life insurance. So I'm not surprised that the industry has grown up just a little bit since Jollis vacated it. Okay. So let's, one of the things that I was reading about you is that I noticed that there's like a secret to, that's your words, a secret to financial wellness and security. Yes. I kind of teased that coming in. Now, both of us know, we don't just kind of wave a magic wand, but so let's condense it. We've got somebody driving in their car right now going, okay, I'm ready for the secret. How would you respond to that? I know as a sales trainer, or if you ask me about professional speaking and say, hone it down, Rob, if I have to know one or two things, I know there's more than that, but if you had to cherry pick one or two, what would they be? So I see that in terms of where we're going with this question, in terms of that secret. I know there's more to it, but give us a couple of things that we just got to know when it comes to financial wellness and security.
Okay. Well, first of all, you got to learn how to win the financial game of life. It is about winning the financial game of life. So here's $1 million question. When people have money, where should I put that money? Okay. Because where you put that money, it affects your money in the future, right? The very first thing is that, okay, do I play with the stock market, right? But what if the market goes down? So what if you had something out there that you could make as much as the market makes with no losses, right? The second thing about winning the financial game of life is that whatever it is that you put it in, does it have a guaranteed stream of income? If it doesn't, why not? Have you talked to the person? Why aren't you giving me something that give me a guarantee? Because people say, oh, don't say that word because you can't say guarantee. Well, guess what? People watching your podcast, people watching me on TV and radio and everywhere, it is regulated by state big time, coming from the insurance background. you can't say something that's not real. You understand? First of all, you can get in trouble for saying something that doesn't exist. So therefore, just because, you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So you want something that, okay, Shirley, give me the worst case scenario that I sleep at night, you sleep at night, that I know tomorrow I have that guaranteed stream of income. Well, guess what? The financial industry changed a lot, and that exists today, Rob. That's the second thing.
Well, let me poke that just for a second, because obviously, I'm further along in my career, and as you know, as people get older, that guarantee becomes a little bit, that monthly income becomes a little bit more important. We're not handing it off and saying, hey, take this, Shirley, take this for 30 years and let me know how we do. So and just help me with this. I've always tied guarantee with lower risk with lower gain. Am I back to my grandfather's financial model again?
Yes, sir.
All right, fix it up for me. Help me there.
Okay, so it's funny that you said that, because I had a stories. There was a gentleman, he's an attorney. He did call me. He said, I'm 62 years old. And he said, Shirley, I want to retire. Could be 2 years, 3 years. And I said to him, the first question was, before I give him any recommendation, I said, well, how much money do you want when you retire? He said to me, $20,000 a month. A month, okay? Somebody thought a year. No, he went $20,000 a month. And I said, well, I can get you there, but under certain conditions, I have to ask you. I said, where is your money today? And wherever you have it today, can that create a stream of income that provided that? You understand? Well, where he has that money today, it does not give him that guaranteed stream of income. On the other hand, I went in, I took the money he has, and I was able to get him the $20,000 a month income that he could have. And he said, whoa, how'd you do that? I said, because here's what we can do. It's about creation of wealth. It's about understanding how we can move the money where you have it today to a different vehicle that gives you guaranteed stream of income. And of course, we talk about, well, what does it cost me? How does it involve? And remember, he's an attorney, so he's no nonsense, okay? I mean, think about it. The attorney could hang my leg, right? If I said something wrong. But because of that, he said, wow, I didn't know this thing exists. So it's about those guaranteed stream of income that exist. Rob, have you heard of index product? Indexed.
Yes.
Okay. So the old adage thinking with index product, you can't make as much money as the market makes. Well, apparently, whoever's telling you that are still in the old traditional mind thinking. There are index product today, Rob, that's making, 2 years return, making 20, 30, 40% return with no losses. And that's the reason why my business is all by referral. I don't do it literally by referral all over the place. And again, people said, no way. It was funny. One time I had a financial advisor told me that. He said, there's no way. And I said to him, I said, I'll make a deal with you. He said, what's the name of the company? I said, I'll give it to you. He said, what's the name of the fund? I said, I'll give it to you. He said, what's the cost? I said, I'll give it to you. I said, under one condition. If I give you all that, you have to promise me you're going to pack your bags, you're going to leave the other firm, and you come with me. Deal? He said, deal. He's with me today. So along with but you know what? I love what I do, because I think financial education should be a fun thing, Rob, because again, if you understand and the clients understand what it is, and if it makes sense, my book explained that in details, of the kind of things that I talk about. I talk about the 5-year retirement plan. Have you ever heard of 5-year retirement plan? No one heard of that. They're like, what? You mean for like 5 years? I said, 5 years, yes. And they're like, what? I goes, uh-huh. And then it goes, but there are just so many things. I know it's not enough time for us to talk about here,
Well, no, it's okay. We mentioned your book. Tell us about your book a little bit, and then we'll remind people at the end, but tell us about that book.
Well, the book is, you can get it on Amazon.com. And it's funny, I just found out it's also now available in Target as well, Target.com. But the book itself is called IUL ASAP, How to Win the Financial Game of Life, Invest Like the Wealthy, with 1 3-letter word. And so that's what it's about, teaching them that, well, how is the rich people playing the game? And I've learned that secret. Because I learned that secret, I wanted to explain that to people, you and I, people that are maybe average income, maybe people just even making minimum wage, right. That imagine if they can learn how to win the financial game of life, of the things I'm teaching them. Because one of the things when it comes to investment, retirement, people think I got to have a lot of money. No, if you start off with $5 a day, $3 a day, remember a journey to retirement, you got to take the first step. The Chinese proverb always have the journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step, right? So if you don't begin the first step, you never make it there, So to me, it's about, understanding where you are. COVID-19 hit everybody really hard. You know that, right? So people lost job. People were calling me, say, hey, Shirley, I can't contribute anymore to the premium because I don't have the money. And then someone got sick, and then some got death passes away. But all these things, you know what? That time, Rob, my team and I did such a service for people. We were able to go into the account that they had, give them money. One of them took out $30,000 to use to pay off for mortgages while they lost their job. Another one was really severely sick. We're able to use the money, right, to pay for their sickness. Another one said, I can't make the premium payment. They don't have to pay for the next 10 years. And the policy is still active. Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
These are the kind of things that I think people just need to take a look what they have and compare. So the book that I have is called IUL ASAP. And it's such a wonderful book. It's fun reading. I teach people how to be the master of their own domain. I'm going to teach them how to win the financial game of life. If you want to win that is the book. By the way, I don't make any money on that. Okay. Literally, you should see the price.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
No, I've got the book, folks, and it's a bargain. And it really is. And if Shirley can deliver the way she's saying, that'll be the greatest investment you ever make. I want to ask one more question about this because I'm dying to know, and maybe you can answer it, maybe you can't. Okay. And I just mean, I know you know the answer. I just don't know if it's the appropriate question. But I want to go back to this lawyer who comes to you and says, I want to retire on $20,000 a month. I don't have a problem with that. It's sort of like teaching somebody to play poker. I'm not a financial advisor, but if I'm looking at an account where somebody has $50 million, I can look at them and go, no problem. I can get you $20,000 a month with that. In other words, I'm going to teach you to play poker, but I'm going to deal you 4 of a kind. And you'll see we're going to win this hand of poker. What kind of, if you can share that, because we don't have a name or anything like that, what kind of wealth were we talking about that allowed you to comfortably get this guy $20,000 a month?
You ready for this? And I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
He has a $2.5 million in the 401k. $2.6 million to be exact. I took that $2.6 million, divided into 3 different plans for him. And I said, this plan, here's what it does. And he said, and he saw the number. We started off with I said, okay, instead of 20,000, because I'm thinking the number in my head, I said, how about we start off a little lower, 15,000? He goes, okay, let's start with 15,000. And I said, but if you wait extra 3 years, then you get your 20. You understand? So we did a benchmark of 15,000. And guess what? I gave him the number. And what we did was we looked at everything he had. Okay. I looked at his Social Security. How much you getting? How much is your wife's getting? Right. Because he told me that was his goal, to have this X amount of income to pay for the house and the mortgages when he retired, and to pay for the food. And he had a extravagant lifestyle. Okay. At first I thought it was 20,000 a year, but it was a month. But then again, because luckily he has a $2.6 million in a 401k that I was able to tap into and design other plan. And I said, listen to me. I said, do you know that your $2.6 million, if you die tomorrow, I have now created an additional 2 million. Your family will get 4.6 million, not 2.6, 4.6, plus an opportunity to get you the stream of income that you need down the road, that you hope for.
Wow.
How's that? He's like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying wow too, because 2.6 million, I know that sounds like a lot of money, folks, but what Shirley just described, and I'm assuming you can do this, that's almost miraculous to me. That's very impressive. And because I really thought, I shot high and said 50 million in this guy's account, but I thought in my head, 10 million, 15 million to do what you were describing. It's impressive. Okay, let's leave this guy behind now for a moment. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
it caught my eye. We're coming down the home stretch of this conversation. You're describing a lot of successes. And
Yes.
yet I know for most of us, particularly entrepreneurs and people that you're hearing from Shirley hasn't taken the most conventional, safe approach to pursuing her career. She's out there. She's fighting. She's in the trenches. Well, most people that I know who do that experience success and they experience failure. That's really what makes us great. Tell me about an episode of failure and what
Okay.
you learned from it. And I wouldn't call that the opening story failure, but let's leave that one aside. Give me something personally that you've learned from through failure.
Okay. So one of the first thing I did was when I first got into the industry, one, I wanted to teach the financial education. And then there was so many new stuff that was happening in the industry. And you know what happened? I brought so many agents in to come to work with me. And we were talking about things like you said right now, where surely it sounds too good to be true. Are you kidding me? These things exist. Well, that same conversation happened at that time when I was doing it. And one of the failure things was I let some of my closest associates with me to make me doubt myself, to make me doubt the fact, oh, this thing is not real. It doesn't work. And sometimes it doesn't. So I let up on that a little bit, you know what I mean? And because people weren't even in the industry itself were telling me that it's not real when I should have gone by my gut instinct, really and say, and hey, put your foot to the pedal and the metal, no matter what whoever says it is, and if you do your research, you're smart enough to know that this thing exists. Most people at that time, honestly, Rob, left me because I wasn't a strong enough leader to combat it and say, look, this thing is real. Don't let other people. So if I learned from my mistake, knowing what I know today, I should have gone, put my foot down a little bit more forceful on that stuff. But you know what? At the end of the day, the good news on the horizon is that I stayed with it. I put my bet against it. And what I did was I took a gamble and went to my most trusted friends and clients and said, look, do you trust me? Do you trust me enough that I'm going to deliver? And now, after all these years, the rest is history because I've got testimony from clients from all over the place. They're retiring on what income I gave. And, I don't know. I just love what I do, Rob. It's not even about the money or any of that stuff, but it's about teaching, reaching out. And you have the same passion I do because you want to help people, because that's why you're successful. You're a great influencer. You give people the advice. Look, for example, this podcast. You helping me with this podcast. There's nothing in it for you on this cast except bring it to the community, and you're willing to have me on that. So I want to say I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart because. Audience, he's not making a dime off of this, okay? He's literally not anything.
Hey, stop telling people I'm not making a dime. But
no.
She's right. I'm not making a dime. Okay.
No, I mean for having me on. What I'm saying.
I understand.
I'm not saying you're not making a dime. I'm saying
no,
you're not charging me.
I got you. Okay. And that is super kind of you to say. And I'm one of my shortcomings is I've been told by a few people I don't handle when people, and this is something we probably should do another podcast on. When people say kind things like that to us, don't do what I do. I tend to say, please, it's not important. Don't worry.
No.
You know what we need to say? We need to say to people like Shirley, I'm grateful for your words. They mean a lot to me. And thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
So, and I truly mean that. So, and I want to tell you something else. As an entrepreneur that's a few years ahead of you, one of the battle cries of most entrepreneurs is usually should have done it sooner. I should have gone with trusted myself sooner. So you've lived that, you've walked that like most of us have. And the only other thing, and Shirley described it, but I want everybody to understand it, that doubt is probably the biggest obstacle of any great thinker, of any great entrepreneur. So you're in good company when doubt rears its ugly head. But you've heard from Shirley. Now you're hearing from me that you got to plow through doubt. And oh, by the way, doesn't mean we're always going to succeed. It means, as I think what Edison said, we found one other thing that we now know won't work. So we'll have a success one way or the other.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I was going to wrap this up, but you piqued my curiosity. So one more question in terms of you. Do you put on workshops for people and seminars for people?
Absolutely. I do workshop, seminar. During COVID, I did Zoom call, I did webinar call, I did StreamYard. I do literally speaking engagement all over the place. I just finished one of the platform with the Teachers Fest with the President of the United States.
Wow.
Recently, I working with Georgetown. I'm working with, I just won a contract with 300,000 American Federation Government Employee Labor Unions. I have officially won that contract. It is rolling out to all federal employees. 183 agencies, these union members. Again, they saw the education that I'm teaching. They felt it was really important, So I do that all the time. And one of the best way, to always reach out, my website is Shirley Luu, is LUU associates.com. And then they can also go into IULASAP.com to inquire more stuff about that, and I teach, believe it or not, I teach financial education at no cost to organization, to nonprofit, and to churches and to organization out there, because I believe financial education should be a thing at no cost. Okay, so again, any organization out there, my team knows my heart is in the right place, and if we can teach people on that, and that's why I love your podcast and I love the kind of things that you do. And yes, so, please, anytime they can reach out, IULASAP.com or ShirleyLouAssociates.com. And then they can email me and then I'd be happy to give them the places where I'm going to be and next event and all that.
That's wonderful. And so you saved me my last question, which was, how do folks get a hold of you? But let me just repeat it in case you didn't hear it. I'll also put it in the show notes. That is Shirley Luu. I'm going to spell that for you. It's Shirley just the way you think it is. SHIRLEY. Luu, LUU, associates.com. So if you want, and what I love about websites, my website, your website is, we could give you email addresses and contact information and other things. But if you go to that website, I'm pretty sure you're going to find everything you need to know about Shirley, including about her book. You ran through a stop sign on that one. That book is available at Target, did you say?
Yeah, I know Target have it online. The other day, I didn't know how they got it on, but next thing you know, but Amazon is easier because Amazon would ship it. If you have Prime, they'll ship it for free.
Yeah.
It's again Amazon, and you just put IUL space ASAP, or you can just put IUL and that'll pop up, and it's $9.95 currently right now.
That's hardback. I mean, that's a paperback, by the way, folks. That's not an ebook. That is $9.95 for a paperback, which is unusual. I'm used to buying an ebook for that. So she's got it sensibly priced, as we would say. Yeah, you can get that. And one last thing, Shirley's not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. When you get that book, you're going to enjoy that book. When you read through it, here's a little secret. If you want to say thank you, the nicest way to say thank you is with an Amazon review. In fact, it's been proven. People read those reviews and they take them seriously. So if you don't like the book, email me and tell me you didn't like it. I'll tell you, settle down, you. But I'm guessing you're going to like that book. And when you do, if you get that book, if you really want to go all out and do something nice for another human being, go ahead and give them a review. Folks, we'll wrap up on that. Thank you so much for listening. Have yourself a great day. And remember, Pocket Sized Pep Talks. Tell your friends about it.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.